Giving all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. That's saying giving all praise to the Father, the God of the Bible, in the name of his Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, and in the name of the Holy Spirit, which is in all believers of the gospel of Yahweh Shai Mashiach's death, burial, and resurrection. All right, so topic of this video is going to be dealing with a three-eye atlas. Shows Afro person on it, and I'll make a title, but that's the topic of it. Three-eye atlas shows Afro person zoomed in on it. So, and that's really what we're dealing with. But I'm meant to figure out a title, but that's probably something similar to that. But that's really what it is, and we'll get into it in the video. But this person pretty much breaks down a little bit what the three-eye atlas is, which is what scientists say is a comet, a very particular comet, right? I believe they said it's like the third thing that they've caught that comes from a different galaxy, I believe it is, or something like that. Now, as far as galaxies and the solar system and stuff like that, scientists say it, I don't I believe that it's just the Earth, the sun, and the moon, and the stars. But if it is more planets and stuff like that, and in the solar system and stuff like that, then all praise to Yahweh. That's just more things that He created. But I'm of the belief that the focus is just on us, right? I'm not saying there's other life out there, but I believe that the focus is just on us. Well, I'm not saying that there's life out there if there were other planets and solar system, stuff like that, because the Bible doesn't talk about that. But like I said, I'm of the belief of that the focus is just on us. But anyways, this dude's going to get into what the three-eye atlas is and what's going on, and basically how they got a telescope to zoom in on the so-called comet, which I believe it's like a chariot or something of God's power, right? Especially after this discovery. But somebody zoomed in on it and they got a photo of it, and they were able to zoom in on the photo, and they're seeing a bunch of crazy stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? Crazy in a good way, right? It looks like an angel with an afro or something like that. But like I said, we'll get straight into it though.
Crazier with this three-eye atlas. All right, guys, just when you think it couldn't get any crazier with this three-eye atlas, we've got some new images that are just plain wild. Now, I want you to see where Atlas is sitting behind the sun, but above the sun. So if you have a solar telescope, as you can see there, you'll be able to see it clearly. And that is exactly what we have over here with Dobsonian power. He used his solar telescope. The only way to get a really good shot right now at the exact coordinates of where NASA said this object is. And this is what he captured. It is rather wild. This is the raw, unprocessed image right here. And a shout out to Julio and Vanessa that cleaned it up, took the noise out of it, adjusted some lighting, as you can see in the middle one, and then just simply zoomed in on different areas. And you can see the different areas that are zoomed in on, some of the wild stuff that is there. Now, some of these places, like the image on the right, look like a painting.
So you see on the right there, right? Looks like someone with an afro right now. It could be an angel, right? Looks like a what it looks like is a man with an afro or a woman with an afro, right? Now in the Bible, the angels are almost always like men, or the cherubim. Sometimes they have different faces, like I believe in Ezekiel, the face of an eagle and stuff like that. But I don't remember reading the scripture any angels being women or anything like that. But it looks like a black man with an afro, right? You see the the so-called black people type hair with the Afro hair sticking up, and even the people in the comments, they're acknowledging it too. And the person here, he acknowledged it as well, right? Now he attempts to try to make a comparison, but with I believe some other drawing of a false god, but which
It's
I
in the
definitely
legs of
believe
some.
that that's what he was talking about. If you just go look at the videos by Dabu77 up there, top left, he tries to compare it to like a drawing of a false idol, right? Which which we know that all those idols and false gods are false, but what it looks like to a lot of people is it looks like a person with an afro, right?
Thing. It's got two arms off the top. It's got the wing coming off the back, and it's got a perfect head with eyes, nose, mouth features, and ear feature. It looks like almost like an afro. Is what it looks like to me. He's looking back.
All right, see, you heard that? This man even admitted that it looks like an afro, a man with an afro. You see the face set up perfect, looks like a head. This is some amazing stuff, man. This is really groundbreaking. You know what I'm saying? This should be something that should make people, especially, with the scriptures lining up and everything going on. But, the Lord showing us stuff like this, that there's power in the Most High. You know what I'm saying? And I got faith that this is something from the Most High. You know what I'm saying? This so-called comet that they're tripping off of, which I believe is a chariot. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, this shows that we're close to the end. You get what I'm saying? Stuff like this that happens, and it's talked about in the news. Now it's not really too big in the news, but you know what I'm saying? I don't think they're gonna let this blow up too much, but they definitely got it on film.
It's like whatever it is, it's crazy looking. It's wild looking that it's there. These images, man, let's zoom in real quick to that on the right. You can see here even better. Some could say it even has horns coming off of its head, if you want to say that. And there's other features people always capture, and people are always going to think and say that it looks like whatever they think it looks like. But realistically, I don't know what to say besides it is wild looking. Even this little thing's been pointed out down here on the bottom.
It is wild. It's cool.
Right below it. But the features, just crazy. It's wild looking. This is what you get when you zoom in on 3-Eye Atlas.
So once again, he got this from zooming in on the 3-Eye Atlas, this so-called comet that NASA and everybody's tripping over right now that said it's heading close to Earth. And we're gonna get into what the 3-Eye Atlas is, so you can know what this is about.
No massive tail, nothing like that. This is no comet like we've ever seen before. But these images, man, I don't know. Let me know what y'all think. As I get new ones, I'm gonna continue to share them. And
all right, so real quick, we'll go ahead and look into what the 3-Eye Atlas is. All right, so I went ahead and searched it up on Grok, which is an AI. A form of AI. So I asked, surely tell me what 3-Eye Atlas is and what unusual things about it make people think aliens are involved. The 3-Eye Atlas is the third confirmed interstellar comet discovered in July 2025 by the Atlas telescope. It's a roughly 5.6 kilometer wide icy body hurling through our solar system on a hyperbolic trajectory at 245,000 kilometers per hour, reaching perihelion near Mars orbit on October 30th, 2025, without posing any Earth threat. So they said it's heading to Mars orbit. Unusual features, so we'll skip down so we can get it more simpler, because I put it in more simple so people can understand. The 3-Eye Atlas is a 5.6 km wide comet from outside our solar system, spotted in July 2025, zooming past Mars orbit. Weird things sparking alien talk include it's oddly aligned with our planets, releases a chemical only seen in Earth factories, has a strange tail pointing at the sun, might be older than our solar system, and doesn't move quite like a typical comet. Some, like scientist Avi Loeb, think it could be artificial. All right, but most say it's just a quirky natural comet. We know that we know that the general people would never admit things unless it's apparent. You get what I'm saying? So of course they're gonna try to hide things, right? But what they mean by artificial, they mean by so-called alien technology, right? We know that they're gonna look at the return of Yahweh Shai Mashiach. If you got wisdom, you know that they're gonna look at the return of Yahweh Shai Mashiach. They're gonna look at it like a so-called alien invasion, right? When it's really gonna be the return of Yahweh Shai when he comes with those big chariots, who the world calls what the world calls UFOs, right? So these are the things that make it stand out, right? The fact that it doesn't move like a comet. It releases a chemical only seen in Earth factories, right? They're saying it's oddly aligned with the planets. All right, man. That's coming from a scientist, right? That are thinking it can't be just a normal comet. It's something of a, like I said, so-called alien, what they call alien, which is really the power of the Lord, right? With the chariots and all the stuff you see. And it looks like an angel, like I said. It could be an angel of the Lord with an afro, right? So, and we know that Yahweh Shai Mashiach is a so-called black man with an afro, white woolly hair, right? So we suspect that we suspect that his angels are gonna be so-called black men with woolly hair. All right. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and get into these scriptures, man. All right. So Ezekiel. Actually, we're gonna go into the Bible. All right. So this is Daniel 7 and 9, dealing with the image of God, the Ancient of Days, and then how we see the image taken on the three eye Atlas, so-called comet, right, and the person with the afro there. Daniel 7 verse 9, as I continued to watch, thrones were set in place. So this is the vision that Daniel's having, and the Ancient of Days took his seat. His clothing was white as snow, and the hair of his head was like pure wool. His throne was flaming with fire, and its wheels were all ablaze. So we see that God, the Father, has the hair of his head is like pure wool, right? Woolly hair, right? Now, I'm not saying that image on the three-eye Atlas is actually, the Father. What I'm saying is that the angels, just like the Israelites and the Jews and Yahushua and God's people have woolly hair, right? The Ancient of Days has woolly hair. So I also suspect that the angels have woolly hair, right? You get what I'm saying? So just to continue that, we know that the Ancient of Days is the Father, right? And if you keep going down, verse 13, in my vision in the night, I continued to watch, and I saw one, capital One, like the Son of Man, coming with the clouds of heaven. He approached the Ancient of Days and was led into his presence. So we see the separation right there. We know that this is the Son of Man. This is talking about Yahushua. Excuse me. This is talking about Yahushua, right? Verse 9 is talking about the appearance of the Father. All right. So we see the Father has hair like wool, right? And we see that the angel looks like had a fro, which is hair like wool. All right. So go ahead and get it to Ezekiel 1. This is dealing with the chariots of God and the angels being in the chariots of God, which I believe that this thing that they're calling a comet is a chariot. All right. All right. So Isaiah 1 and 4, I looked and saw a whirlwind coming from the north, a great cloud with fire flashing back and forth and brilliant light all around it. In the center of the fire was a gleam like amber, and within it was the form of 4 living creatures. All right, so you see the chariot and talking about the 4 living creatures. All right, and this was their appearance. They had a human form, but each had 4 faces and 4 wings. Their legs were straight, and the soles of their feet were like the hooves of a calf, gleaming like polished bronze. Under their wings, on their four sides, they had human hands. All four living creatures had faces and wings, and their wings were touching one another. They did not turn as they moved. Each one went straight ahead. All right. The form of their faces was that of a man, and each of the four had the face of a lion on the right side, the face of an ox on the left side, and also the face of an eagle. Search for their faces. All right. Their wings were spread upward. Each had two wings touching the wings of the creature on either side, and two wings covering its body. Each creature went straight ahead. Wherever the spirit would go, they would go without turning as they moved. In the midst of the living creatures was the appearance of glowing coals of fire or of torches. All right. Verse 15, when I looked at the living creatures, I saw a wheel on the ground beside each creature with its four faces. The workmanship of the wheels looked like the gleam of beryl, and all four had the same likeness. Their workmanship looked like a wheel within a wheel. As they moved, they went in any of the four directions without pivoting as they moved. Their rims were high and awesome, and all four rims were full of eyes all around. So as the living creatures moved, the wheels moved beside them. And when the creatures rose from the ground, the wheels also rose. Wherever the spirit would go, they would go, and the wheels would rise alongside them, because the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. All right, so here we see the angels of God, the angels of God moving with the chariots of God, right? And you see that described as wheels within wheels, you know, with the gleam of fire, right? Same thing, right? So spread out above the heads of the living creatures was the likeness of an awesome expanse, gleaming like crystal. And under the expanse, their wings stretched out toward one another. Each one also had two wings covering its body. All right. All right, it's just talking about the glory of the Lord, right? These creatures were around the Lord. So I believe Ezekiel 10 goes into it too. And I looked and saw above the expanse, above the heads of the cherubim, the likeness of a throne of sapphire. And Yahweh said to the man clothed in linen, go inside the wheelwork beneath the cherubim. Fill your hands with burning coals from among the cherubim and scatter them over the city. All right, so you see these are cherubim, right? These creatures they're talking about, they're cherubim. As you see the burning coals reference, the same thing from Ezekiel 1 and 13, and it's talking about the wheelwork. All right, the wheels that the living creatures are in. These are cherubim. These are angels of the Lord. All right. So something to digest, man. Very exciting times. You know what I'm saying? Very, very exciting. All right, that we're seeing stuff like this in these last days, man. So with that, I'm gonna give all praise to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash Shalom.